Welcome back to another video brought to you by the Fantasy Authority. I'm going to be your host for this video, Andrew Harbaugh. You can find me on Twitter at Mandrew_FF. Coming to you here with a little bit more of a somber note, but also the train keeps on rolling for us. Joe Burrow went down with turns out to be devastating knee injury. Matthew Betts from the Fantasy Footballers, their injury expert, talked about what Adam Schefter talked about today. At halftime of the Monday night game between the Rams and the Buccaneers, that Schefter's reporting it's an ACL for Burrow as well as a PCL, MCL, and a meniscus. Pretty bad structural damage to a knee that's so young, and it's a first overall pick for a team that's really been looking decent offensively. Yeah, they've been missing Joe Mixon, but Tyler Boyd's looked well. Higgins and Burrow seem to have a really good connection early on. Betts is talking about it does not look like, with that list of injuries, that Joe Burrow is going to be available for Week 1 in 2021. That being said, everyone's body heals differently, everyone's body rehabs differently, and crazier things have happened. But you've also got to look at it from the standpoint that the Bengals aren't winning anything right now. They're probably not going to win anything next year. So who knows? They're talking about maybe even giving Burrow a sabbatical for 2021 and just looking at 2022 and getting everybody healthy and full steam ahead. So right now they're talking about going between Brandon Allen or Ryan Finley, which pick your poison at that point. Allen we haven't seen with Zach Taylor in the Cincinnati offense. Finley we did in 3 games last year. Didn't really see a lot. 47% completions from him, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Nothing really great from that team. I mean, they had the first overall pick for a reason. A bright spot, though, is Tyler Boyd, I don't think should miss too much from the absence of Joe Burrow. With Finley last year, he did have, over the 3 games, 20 targets, 12 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. That's obviously not the greatest production from what you want to have with Boyd, but that being said, I think that's something that makes Boyd a suitable, high upside wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 3 for you, or at least a flex spot. Higgins, obviously, we have no idea what's going to happen there. What we can look at, though, is plus AJ Green, we can't forget about. With Higgins and Green, if you look at what Finley's number 2 wide receiver, because Boyd was his number 1, the averages for Finley's wide receiver 2 last year in his 3 games, they would average 6 targets, 3 receptions, 54 receiving yards, and they never scored a touchdown. And with Joe Mixon not in the fold here, either with him going on IR for the next 3 weeks, the box is not going to be stacked against Finley. It's not going to be stacked for Gio Bernard. So teams are going to be taking advantage of Ryan Finley being back there. So I would probably start Boyd, but Higgins and Green, it's going to be real hit or miss for a week or 2 until you can kind of see what happens. Obviously, playoffs are starting and you can't afford to be patient, but Boyd, I would not hesitate to start. And like I talked about, with playoffs starting up, you're going to be looking for a replacement for Joe Burrow, whether it be redraft or dynasty. I found 3 cheap or low-owned options, depending on, like I said, dynasty or redraft. Option 3, Kirk Cousins. In dynasty, I don't think, especially with Burrow being out next year too, potentially, Cousins probably has 1 more year in Minnesota, because he has a lot of big money tied up next year. They cut him. They would save $30 million, but then they'd have a dead cap of $40, so really they're $10 million in the hole there. He's quarterback 16 right now. He has the weapons with Thielen and the emerging rookie Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, to really perform for your fantasy team and get you big weeks. His matchups for the rest of the year aren't as favorable. He has the Panthers, who are the 17th ranked defense. Jaguars were 24th, so you got 2 easy ones, but then in the playoffs, he has the Buccaneers, who are the 5th best, Bears, who are sneaky at 12, and then the Saints at 6th. So option 2 of 3, I've got Ben Roethlisberger. He's currently the QB 11. He's kind of I think he's going to play a couple more years, and you saw what he just peppered with Deontay Johnson. He's not even really using Juju the way he was before. So once he gets Juju back into the mix and they figure out what the heck they're doing with this run game, I think Roethlisberger would be a suitable replacement. They might have the Ravens for their schedule on Thanksgiving Day, and then after that, you have a pretty fun schedule for him to go through. Washington, Bills, and the Bengals, they're the 12th, 15th, and 31st ranked defenses respectively. But then if, say, you're in a championship, you have the Colts, who are the 2nd best defense in the league right now, statistically. Would not be a fun matchup to go against if you're looking for a title. And then last to round out the curve, are the 3 guys here on the curve. Derek Carr, it's funny that we're talking about the Raiders and a curve, considering their COVID cases, but he is the quarterback 18 right now. Excellent completion percentage, 69%, passing yards over 2,100. He's just missing the touchdowns that all the other guys have, and he only has 16. Only 2 interceptions this year, so he's not turning the ball over. He's keeping the offense on the field, which is what you want. Say he had 5 more touchdowns than what he has currently, he'd be QB 10, which would be the highest ranked of any of these guys I've mentioned. His matchups the rest of the year are very favorable. You've got the Falcons and Jets, 28th and 26th ranked defenses. You got the Colts, who are second, as I mentioned. Chargers, who are 22nd, and then Dolphins are 4th for championship week. And then, but I feel like the Dolphins, depending on how things are, if they're out of things by week 16, if they can't decide what to do with Tua or Fitzpatrick, I think they could be a step down as far as the defense, and I think Carr could take advantage of it. I think those are 3 serviceable guys, both short-term and long-term, to get you through until Burrow gets back. We don't know what he's going to be like when he gets back. Hopefully the Bengals take this preseason, or this offseason, to build up this offensive line, because he's getting the David Carr treatment. Just David Carr never had the devastating knee injury that Burrow unfortunately suffered. So I will say, if you can get one of these 3 guys, if you do, be sure to drop a comment down below. Let us know. Be sure to hit subscribe. And if you have any questions or any other suggestions, find us on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Mandrew_FF.